Cadillac has been busy expanding their portfolio of IQs. They're all-electric luxury vehicles, and the latest ick to be added to the lineup is this, the VISTIQ. So now we have the Optic, the LYRIQ, the VISTIQ, the Escalade IQ and IQL, and at the very top we have the CELESTIQ, but that's like a whole other universe of insanely expensive flagship luxury sedan. And the VISTIQ is a big deal because with the Escalade IQ, it's badass. It's enormous. It is filled with technology, luxury, has a massive battery pack for power and range. It has so much of everything, but it's also just utterly gigantic, and it's also tremendously expensive. With the VISTIQ, we have a 3-row luxury electric SUV at a much more reasonable size and price point. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the VISTIQ is like. Now, some of the Cadillac team were referring this as the baby Escalade IQ. So I'm going to be really interested to find out if it feels like a shrunken down version of the Escalade IQ. Is it an Escalade IQ that went on a diet? Or does it feel more like a LYRIQ that maybe grew a bit? The Optic felt like all the cool aspects, the elements of the LYRIQ that I really liked, distilled down into a smaller package. So maybe this might feel more like a LYRIQ that's grown up a bit, or is it like an Escalade IQ that went on a diet? We're gonna find out. In terms of the powertrain, this is also built on the modular architecture like the other GM EVs. This one makes 615 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. Now, on the back, there's a badge that says 900 E4. And you'll notice the numbers that I said, none of them were 900 something. So what exactly does that mean? Well, it is actually the torque output in Newton meters rounded to the nearest 50 or 100. That's what Cadillac has been doing to try to give hierarchy to the different models and power outputs and so forth. So 650 pound-feet of torque is about 880 Newton meters, and you round that to 900 E4 because this is standard dual motor all-wheel drive, and that's what that badge on the back means. It kind of gives you context of where it lines up compared to other options in the family. Now, dual motor all-wheel drive, 102 kilowatt-hour battery pack leads to about 300 miles of estimated range. And here's another pretty impressive number. With velocity max mode, 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, which is actually faster than a Escalade V. It's actually pretty impressive. And this is not a V version either, right? We now have electrified V versions of Cadillacs coming. There is a LYRIQ V, Optic V that has been announced. Maybe we'll get a VISTIQ V at some point, but today we were just driving this regular VISTIQ to see what it's like, and I'm really interested to see, does it feel like a shrunken down Escalade IQ, an Escalade IQ that went on a diet, or is it like the LYRIQ, just a bit bigger? Let's go find out. Let's start off by taking a quick exterior and interior tour of the VISTIQ before we hit the road. So up front, Cadillac is doing a very good job with keeping consistent styling, so you immediately can tell this is a electric Cadillac. We have that welcome sequence, the DRL filling in the vertical blades of lighting and the separate indicator up top. And then we have this kind of shield grille area. It's not like a conventional grille because it doesn't need airflow that way, but it's this black with etched pattern here, and they actually slightly change the design depending on the trim to give it a little bit different personality. And actually, the lower fascia area can change too, depending on what version of the VISTIQ that you have. But the lighting pattern is really cool at night. It really ties in with the LYRIQ, the Escalade IQ, and so forth. And this one looks pretty cool in this metallic red paint. Now, in terms of the wheels, we are on the standard 21-inch wheels, but you can option up to 22-inch wheels and even 23-inch wheels on the top tier trim. But this one right here is on the 21s. We have the door handles that pop out, very similar to the other Cadillac vehicles. They fold back in for better aerodynamics. And another really cool design element is right here. This piece of glass has the pattern etched in and laminated in between the layers for privacy, but also some visual interest on the side of this big SUV. So this is inspired by the Cadillac Mondrian pattern. If you take a look at the actual Cadillac logo, let me show you the one up front. It's a little bit bigger. You see all the little lines and kind of rectangles and squares. That is the inspiration for this, and it actually looks really cool. And you also have the body color painted D pillar here, and the overall proportions just feel a little tight lighter, a little more dynamic compared to the Escalade IQ. I mean, the Escalade IQ looks pretty good for something of that size. It is hard to style something that literally looks like a house fell over and is driving around, right? It's enormous. But the VISTIQ here just feels a little tighter, a little bit more sporty looking, still plenty of presence and size, but just a little more swept back. Take a look at the lighting back here too. We have the vertical bars that kind of splits through the body, so that evokes the Escalade IQ. A lot of cool detailing, like kind of the piano key look inside that taillight. Forgive the dust and dirt. We were driving on a dirt road, so it got a little bit dirty. But there's also another piece of lighting that comes in there, which also ties into other Cadillac EVs, right? You have the vertical blade that cuts through. Let me see if I can get it to light up. You see the other piece there in the middle, the 900 E4 badge I was talking about in the back. We've got the Vistic logo there. And then if we press the logo on the back, that opens the trunk. Now, the Vistic is sort of the EV analog to the XT6. It actually has a little bit more cargo space in the third row, or actually behind the third row, folded up. So I've got my backpack here, a jacket, in terms of cargo capacity here. So this is analogous to that in terms of the size and lineup, the XT6. Go ahead and close that. So it's a good looking SUV, immediately ties in to the other EVs in the family in Cadillac, and I think it looks pretty good. Not quite the sheer size, scale, magnificence of the Escalade IQ, but definitely a little tighter, still plenty of, again, presence and size. We also have the charge door here on this side. Now, let's go ahead and hop inside and give you a tour of the interior. All right, so Cadillac has been really focusing on the interior design and materials to really elevate their luxury vehicles. In the past, oftentimes when you had platform shared vehicles, whether it's a Chevy versus Cadillac or a Ford versus Lincoln or a Volkswagen versus Audi, you'd get in the luxury version and you'd go to touch something or press a button or some control and you'd be like, oh, that looks like the one or is exactly the same one from the cheaper version, and it just doesn't make it feel like a luxury experience. So with the LYRIQ, they were very specific in making sure that all the controls, all the touch points from air vent knobs to buttons, everything were going to be unique to Cadillac. You would not find it in any other vehicle, no more parts been special, and I think they've done a very good job elevating the interiors. The material choices are very, very nice. So like on the door here, we've got this wood grain here. You can feel it, the open pore wood. Similar controls buttons. This is for your massage seats. As the other Cadillac EVs, the seats have this nice perforated leather, some cool patterning. We've got speakers here in the headrest. Similar steering wheel, or actually probably exactly the same as the other Cadillac EVs, the big curved 33-inch screen. There was a bit of a difference between like the screen interior layout compared to the Escalade, right? Escalade has that massive pillar-to-pillar screen, so many touchscreens. This feels more like the, again, see the LYRIQ optic, kind of that big curved floating screen there. And we do have a lower touchscreen there. So let me go ahead and just hop in. We'll step inside. All right, foot on the brake. Vehicle powers up. So there's a Super Cruise display, the big steering wheel with the Regen On Demand paddle here on the left. That is pressure sensitive. The harder you pull it, the more you'll slow down. There's that Velocity Max button for the max acceleration and power. Super Cruise, heated steering wheel, other controls for your cruise control stuff here. And then this is like your infotainment going forward and back track, your volume control there. And then the curved screen, which runs built-in Google. No CarPlay, no Android Auto, but this is very familiar if you've been in a Optic, LYRIQ, some of the newer stuff. So you can go here, reconfigure the screen. There's energy, you have the map view, we have the driver assistant view, this is the clean view. Now, there is an available new, like really fancy heads-up display with like augmented reality. This one does not look like it has it. See, that just looks like a collision warning, smaller one for the heads-up display. So they're telling us about how there is now augmented reality working with the built-in nav and your driver assistance systems. It can project information out there. Really, really cool tech, but this one does not have an option. You have to go up a tier. The fancier versions would, but we do have the lower screen here. So this center console is pretty interesting. Lower touchscreen, a lot of vehicles have this kind of layout for our climate. You have 5-zone climate control. So we have our front row, we have second row, You can control it all from here. And then third row gets a single zone. So there's 5-zone climate control. We can go to where we want airflow to go. There's seats, so I can control my heated, cooled seats, my heated steering wheel, my massage. There's some pretty good massage controls up here. It's not just like on off, right? So we're a step up from the LYRIQ and Optic, for example. We've got roll, knead, wave, relief, glide. A lot of different options for your massage seat. Cool little Cadillac cursive script right there. And then center console here, got storage bin, cup holders, pretty standard. A rotary dial that can interface with this. Is also a touchscreen up here though. Let's see if I go to Google Maps, for example. That's a pet peeve. Glove box release is actually in the screen. So there's no button for opening the glove box. You have to go in through the screen. But exiting out of that, back to the center console area, there is storage down below. So there's that pass-through storage because EV platform, you don't have a transmission tunnel in there. So there's the center console. Let's go ahead and hop into the second row seats and of course the third row. Let's see what it's like. The door panel actually has a couple things worth mentioning. So this has been redesigned for more storage space. You could put like a tablet here, your beverages, a lot of storage here on the door. And then this speaker grill here also has a unique pattern in the metal speaker grill for the AKG sound system. All right, second row seats. So we've got one seat folded down right here. Let's see if I can fold it up. Nope, out of the way. I guess we're going to third row first. Yeah, that's graceful. Oh boy. Gracefully getting into the third row is always a challenge, but we do have a glass roof up here, make it feel a little bit more open and airy. You can see that pattern there on the glass, but we have USB-C charging port back here. We have cup holders, a padded armrest. So it's not bad, but legroom wise, let's see. I can't get, okay. Yeah, okay. I'm 6'3", not the smallest person in the world, right? So third row, if you really need the third row, get the Escalade IQ. That's where it actually comes in handy. I'm not comfortable back here, which is to be expected because again, this is pretty substantially smaller compared to the Escalade IQ. But I mean, if you have kids, shorter people, they would definitely fit back here. That's what the third row is for. But I did the test for you guys. I got into the third row and now I'm gonna try to get myself out. Something else to note, the distance between the bottom of the seat here in the third row to the floor is not very tall. So that means your knees probably be angled up a little bit more. So again, it's not meant to be the most spacious third row. That is why the Escalade IQ exists, but the second row space. So we're back here now. I've got a cutout here in the seat. So I've got enough space here. Headroom is fine. And then there's another 8-inch touchscreen that kind of mirrors the one up there for your climate control in the second row and third row. And then we have heated seats back here. So this comes standard with another screen back here for controlling things. You can see you can fold the seats for in and out egress for the third row. We have some more of that nice wood trim back here. So it's a nice second row seat. Plenty of space. We got our own AKG speakers up here, the full panoramic roof. I wonder if I can actually open that from back here. That's where airflow would be. Control, oh no, it's just ambient lighting. There's a lot of different ambient lighting, which it's very light out right now, so we would not be able to see it at all, but you can control ambient lighting back here. I do not think I can open or close the sunroof. I would have to ask the driver or the passenger up front. Let's go ahead and hop out. All right, configuring the second row seat. There's a button right here. And press that, and the whole seat will slide forward like that for you to get into the third row. Or we can go back. You pull the handle here, it slides all the way back. You can pull this, it goes down, press and hold that, and goes forward. So a couple different ways. Pull it back like that, pull the handle, and then, that's surprisingly hard to do with one hand, seat goes up. So that's the different ways you can configure the second row captain's chairs. Quick double pull there. Let's take a look under the hood. Again, there is no E-trunk, no front trunk. I'm curious to see how packed with all sorts of like oh, there's actually a good amount of space underneath here. We could have probably been given a front trunk. That's a little bit of a shame. Like there was a lot of space under the hood, but again, no front trunk in the VISTIQ. So let's take a look at the Vistic Platinum. You'll immediately notice changes to the front fascia styling. That pattern in the front shield grille area is different, along with the lower fascia design. And then we have the air suspension lowered all the way down into like a entry-exit ride height. Looks pretty good. Slammed all the way down, minimizing that wheel gap. And also unique wheels, 23-inch blacked out wheels on the Platinum. It actually looks pretty cool, slammed all the way down. Now, between the different trims, it has the same powertrain. So on the back, you also see it says 900 E4. Power and torque are going to be the same, but there are tweaks to the styling, the look, air suspension on this one, along with rear wheel steering, other changes to the interior, but the Platinum is gonna be the highest up option, most luxurious, most expensive, fanciest version of the Vistic, probably bridging the gap closer to the Escalade in feel. But I do like this front fascia look compared to the regular other versions of the Vistic, whether luxury or sport. All right, we are now on the road behind the wheel in the Cadillac VISTIQ. So they call this the baby Escalade, and there's a lot of aspects of it that do make you feel that. Just the size, the looks, right? It is a 3-row full-size SUV, but does this feel more like a Escalade that went on a diet, the Escalade IQ, or does it feel like a bigger LYRIQ? Now, actually, initial impressions, I'm actually leaning more towards just like a sized up LYRIQ, because the weight, there is a big differential. Now, the battery pack in this is like half the size of the one found in the Escalade IQ. And the Escalade IQ is truly gigantic. I mean, that battery pack leads to enormous range, but also enormous weight, and you can feel it. Despite the best efforts of the Cadillac chassis engineers and the magic they can do with the air suspension and everything, the Escalade IQ feels like you are driving an apartment building. This feels much more kind of conventional size and weight. Now, this specific Vistic doesn't have all the fancy tech in terms of the optional adaptive air suspension and available rear steering. Rear steering is fantastic, especially getting into larger and larger vehicles, because it can virtually shorten the wheelbase. It makes it feel much more maneuverable. This one, as a more regular Vistic, just has the regular damping, but even with that, it's been very comfortable driving around. Another really big thing to note is it has road noise cancellation. And I was like, oh, that's just active noise cancellation, right? But no, it's actually slightly different, and it's more, I guess, focused on eliminating specific road noise, tire roar, maybe some impacts, some of that aspect of it. And the low frequency sounds do seem like they're more isolated. Now, there is no way to turn it on or off. It's just always there. And on the freeway, I actually think this thing is pretty quiet and composed, even on some not so ideal Michigan roads. It's been very comfortable, smooth, which is what buyers of these vehicles definitely want. This does have, there's a little V button right here on the steering wheel, right? That is velocity max, and that is what unlocks the full power capability. With that, you get 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, which is faster than an Escalade V, which is pretty impressive actually for something in this size segment. But the buyers of these vehicles definitely are more concerned with the isolation, the quiet, the comfort, and the technology. And speaking of technology, we do have another iteration of Super Cruise that's becoming more and more advanced. So a new feature they added that I actually personally am really excited about is it can now interface with the built-in Google navigation, and it will know if you are about to make an exit. So one of my pet peeves of Super Cruise, because Super Cruise is fantastic in pretty much all situations, except sometimes, let's just say I'm gonna exit, I know I'm gonna exit, so I get to the right lane in the slower moving traffic, and Super Cruise goes, oh, I can make a left move, lane change to pass because there's slower moving traffic. And I'm like, no, cancel. I'm trying to get off the freeway. It now can interface with the built-in Google Maps navigation. It can transmit that data back and forth, and it knows that you're about to get off, so it will not make that lane change. And they keep improving the capability of Super Cruise. We're just on this little 2-lane road right here with the white steering wheel icon there. I can go ahead and set my, why does it keep going off? There we go. Green is happy. We are hands-free on this supported mapped road. Other luxury tech comforts, we've got massage seats, actually a lot of different settings. I'm gonna go for relief, intensity 3. This lower 8-inch touchscreen, again, that's what controls our seats, our climate, our various things, our massage. And then we've got the curved screen here. Again, that's a difference between this and the Escalade IQ, where the Escalade IQ is just over the top, access to the max. This is a more reasonably contained, more conventional feeling, right? There's more similarity between this interior layout to the LYRIQ than the Escalade, in my opinion. The Escalade has that massive pillar-to-pillar screen. It is screens over the top, power opening and closing doors, but the price point also reflects that. Whereas the Vistic, yes, they call it the baby Escalade IQ, right? But the price is a lot more appropriate, I think. This one here, a regular trim one, I mean, they're starting at just under $80,000. Yeah, you can add on some options, color and things like that. You will have upgrade wheel options, so you can go up to 23-inch wheels with the Platinum trim. But even when you get into the Platinum or the premium, like the higher tier trims, they're into the 90s. The Escalade IQ, that's starting at $130,000. And when you go crazy on the configurator, I optioned up an Escalade IQ L with the fancy executive second row seat that feels like you're flying first class on a private jet. That was like 170 grand. So there is a huge price delta there. And honestly, I think that most buyers that don't want to spend that kind of money for the big flagship, they'll be very happy with the VISTIQ. It doesn't feel as much of a, I don't want to say inconvenience because that seems mean to the Escalade IQ. The IQ is ridiculously awesome, but it is also enormous. It is incredibly inefficient, has to lug around that enormous battery pack. This thing getting 300 miles of range on a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack. It's got plenty of power and torque, all-wheel drive. Like, this is more than enough luxury. The 23 speaker AKG sound system with Dolby Atmos sounds great. My massage seats are nice and comfortable. It is quiet and isolated. It's got enough practicality and storage, and it honestly also looks like an Escalade IQ. They're doing a very good job keeping that styling very consistent across all the IQ products. I'm pretty impressed. So what would you cross-shop a VISTIQ with? I don't think cross-shopping with the Escalade IQ makes as much sense because there are such different personalities. Really, I think it's if maybe you really like the LYRIQ but want to size up a bit. I do feel more similarities there. You do get a bit more compared to the LYRIQ for sure. Other three-row luxury SUVs, we have the Volvo EX90. Super Cruise doing a pretty good job of that. That truck just slowed down. I am still fully hands-free. Nice. So we have the Volvo EX90, which is another premium luxury. Nope, actually Super Cruise is telling me no more. Hands-free driving unavailable, no road information. Okay, where was I on that? EX90 from Volvo. We have the Rivian R1S. That's a big one that definitely comes to mind. But Rivian goes definitely in a different direction in their ethos. It's much more kind of adventure, overland type of thing. And obviously they do have versions that get ridiculously powerful. I'm looking forward to spending some time with the tri-motor, quad motor Gen 2 R1S. We also have the Model X, but that's starting to age quite a bit too. Lincoln doesn't really have anything in this space. You have the Mercedes EQS. So there are options now. Actually, Velocity Max. All right. They say 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, which hilariously is actually faster than the Escalade V, but you don't feel as much of the drama, right? The Escalade V sounds like the world's ending with that massive supercharged V8 going crazy. And the Escalade IQ, when you launch it, it just squats and you look like you're looking at the sky, right? Because it's so massive, there's more drama. That actually did it relatively drama-free, but more than enough power and torque. So initial impressions of the VISTIQ, I like it, but I actually personally feel like this is more akin to just the LYRIQ that's been sized up, the really good parts of the LYRIQ with a bit more space, obviously the third row, the really nice elements you like. Yeah, you can call it the baby Escalade because it is a three-row, full-size electric luxury Cadillac, right? And you see some of the family resemblance. They've done a very good job tying it all in, and it is scaled down. It feels very much more maneuverable and just usable, livable compared to the Escalade IQ. The Escalade IQ is awesome. It is utterly badass, but it is so enormous it can actually sometimes be a little bit inconvenient. But I think this feels more like if you want a LYRIQ, more space. It's got plenty of tech luxury, pretty quiet, drives well, and we're just in a regular one, right? Go to the Platinum. There's one to check out. The Platinum will be even more loaded up, right? I would love to try it with the air suspension, rear wheel steering. But even this one here, materials are nice. The AKG sound system sounds good. The tech integration is good. Super Cruise is fantastic as usual with even more improvements. There is Florinet in non-Velocity Max. Not bad. A grown-up LYRIQ, or not even grown-up, a LYRIQ that packed on a couple pounds, or an Escalade IQ that went on a diet. I think it is more so of the former. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick first drive of the VISTIQ. Thanks for watching.